Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of What If Naruto Was Put Through Hell. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also guys, stay in tune for a new episode coming over on Anime King and Anime King 3. Yes, if you're new, you heard that correctly. I have 3 channels. Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. Links will be down in the description for Anime King and Anime King 3 guys for you guys to enjoy. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, Naruto's life was difficult, all because of Minato. Yes, as Kushina had twins, a baby boy and a baby girl. As she had passed out after the procedure, and Minato made a choice, as he sealed the 9 tails inside of Naruto. As many called for his death, Minato did not inform them that was his son. So none of the council members, none of them there knew. As they decided to put him in the orphanage because they thought his parents were dead. There was many attempts made on his life, but none of them were successful. Growing up, Naruto was literally put through hell, as he was beaten repeatedly. He was chained up in a cellar like some rabid dog, skewered, stabbed, beaten, and he was unable to do anything to defend himself, because if he tried, he would be pinned down and severely beaten even worse. The matriarch of the orphanage made sure of that. Minato came to visit every once in a year, as they would dress him up in neat clothes, saying that he was alright and he was perfectly fine here. But once Hokage was gone, they would return back to the beating. Everything changed though when he was fined by Ayam, as Ayam told Kushina, who was the envoy at the time. Kushina saw the boy as she managed to gain his trust, as he only referred to himself as monster. But when he was going on to the Hokage, he was to be called Naruto. Kushina brought him towards the Uchiha compound for the Uchihas to take the statement, but she had to go on her mission. She was waiting for him to return at Ichiwak Ramen, but he did not. She found his clothes, though his tracksuit, in the corner, bloody and torn, as Naruto was taken on the route for a year. As he was on a mission for route, he was taken by the Kumo shinobis and taken to Kumo for years. We went into a flashback, as Naruto had a mind program by Danzo. Whenever Konoha was mentioned by someone not of the village, it seemed to make him attack. But Killer Bee had knocked him out as they brought him back. As Naruto has been living there the entire time, he made good friends at the school: Yujito, Killer Bee, Omoy, Karu, and Darue. And the Raikage adopted Naruto as his own son. Jiraiya came back to the village as Minato told him that he was right. Danzo had lost Naruto, as Danzo told Minato that the boy was under perfect condition and he only fight and live for Konoha now, and there was no way of changing that. But Naruto was lost. Yes, Danzo had lied. Jiraiya told him that he will find him no matter what, but he must tell Kushina or he will. As Kushina and Katsume came in the office, as Minato took a deep breath as he tell her that he had something to tell her. The girl had mourned for the boy that she couldn't help. Kushina was just loving that way, as he had died, because that is what she thought, because she saw the bloody tracksuit in the corner. And she was waiting there at Ichiwak Ramen and she didn't see him. And she mourned for her son. She didn't even know that the two of them were one person. Yes, she did not know. As Naruto had graduated the academy at Kumo, as he was so happy, the Raikage was sending him on his first mission along with Yujito and Killer Bee. They were to train him outside the village as well. As the last time they trained in here, he lost control of his chakra and ended up going on a rampage. But everything was sorted out. It wasn't hard to subdue him given the fact that two other Jinchurikis were there. But Naruto still had a tick whenever Konoha was mentioned, so they decided not to. But he would have to get over that sooner or later. The Raikage told him if anyone tried to mess with him, inform them that he's his son. And if they keep on persisting, show them no mercy and bring back Naruto here. As Killer Bee and Yujito nodded to that, as Minato had told Kushina what happened. And she lost it when she found out what he did to their son. So yeah guys, those basically as we left off. You guys can switch across and please and check it out for yourself. So what is the beginning of this new episode? The Raikage was sitting in his chair as the group just left. As a memory washed over him. Flashback. The door had opened in a loud bang. A immediately got to his feet to iron claw his brother. But he paused when he saw that B was carrying a brat no more than 6 years old on his shoulder. He stopped because of the eyes of the boy. The eyes show great sadness. And it seems like the boy expected him to be on the receiving end of the iron claw. So A stopped himself from doing anything. Bro? B blinked under his shades as he had already prepared himself to get hit. He wondered if his bro was sick or something. Can't hit you with a brat on your shoulder, A said. Where did you get him? Well bro, we were going through Oto, dashing through the Oto names. We did the mission in Toto, and we tried to leave. And then he comes in. Jumping branch to branch, he stopped. And C gives us a sign. So when the kunais get long, A took Naruto from B as he handed the boy over to Yujito. And iron claw B twice. Without rapping, A said, as B pulled himself back up. Well, we wounded him by mistake. And since we thought that he was a civilian, we brought him with us. But it turns out he was a package, you know? As he pointed towards Naruto's stomach, before pointing towards the iron kanji on his own arm. A Jinchuriki? Yeah, and he doesn't know that. Because if he was from the sound, they would have kept him tight. So I felt his soul and his plight. A turned his head, ignoring B with his dropping as he turned towards Darue. Explain. He was probably conditioned mentally. When a specific word is heard, he get homicidal a lot, without any care for himself. He actually go as far as to break his own bones if he need to. So basically, it's one mess of a Jinchuriki, A said. Naruto, the boy said. What? Said A. Not Jinchuriki. My name is Naruto. First, it was monster, then demon, then perfect weapon, then kid, then brat, then Naruto. She said Naruto as he pointed towards Yujito. I don't think he's been trained in controlling his Bijou chakra, and we expect he might be. Yujito was interrupted by Killer B. Well bro, he said that he's a demon fox, so that leave us with, what? The Kyuubi? The Ninetales? A said, as he looked at the frail, weakened boy, who seemed to look like he wants some meat on his bones. A moved his right hand forward as Naruto brought his cheek forward, like he was expecting to get hit, and he was making it easier. Well, said A, it seems that damn spiky blonde idiot actually didn't kill the beasts. As he had the news go around. Kid, when were you born? Naruto stared at the man. This didn't interfere with the question that Danzo-sama didn't tell him to answer, so he could. October 10. Is my name Kid now? He asked. No, it's still Naruto, said Yujito. It is, and it will always be Naruto, Kid. That's just a nickname. Nickname? What's a nickname? Said Naruto. Well, I'm Yujito. That's my name. And my nickname is Cat. It is what my friends call me. Friends? Said Naruto confused, as everyone went silent in the area. As A coughed though, breaking that. Well, so that day the Kyuubi attacked Konoha. A paused as Naruto leaped forward and sent a punch right towards his face. A caught the punch rather easily. A pulled his hand back to punch Naruto in his stomach to knock him out. But B grabbed Naruto's leg and pulled him back. B's punches and A punches were completely different, and the Raikage punches have probably left in the hospital for a week or so. So, it's the word of that village, huh? Suspected that much, said A, as he looked at the boy who was trying to get out of B's hole. No sense of preservation. What bastard could do this to a kid? Still, said A, first we take care of him. Some food, a checkup in the hospital, and I want someone to keep an eye on him and get him, well, I can't say normal, but bearable. As Darui chopped Naruto in the back of the neck as he knocked him out. As Yujito glared at him as she took Naruto in her arms. Well, Cat here can take care of the boy. You lot, I expect a written report on my desk tomorrow. Dismiss, A said. Once they were gone, he stared through the windows. Something about that boy's eyes. It just seems so familiar. In the flashback, Gate of Kumo. So first, we go through Shiminakuni, then Yuminakuni, And then, Hain no Kuni. There was no reaction from Naruto at the mention of Hain no Kuni, which was the land of fire, as that made everyone happy. And finally, we reached Nami no Kuni. Got that down? Said C, as he received nods from everyone. Yes. When are we gonna train, C-san? Naruto-kun. This is our first mission as a team. I say B-san can be the sensei, alright? Said Yujito. Fine by me, said Naruto as he turned towards B. So when are we gonna train, B-sensei? Yo, let's get some distance between us and the city. You heard the boss. And then later, I'll teach you, said B. And with that, the group dashed off. At Konoha, Kushina, please, let me explain. Minato was on his knees, on a beanbag chair, as he looked miserable in front of his wife, as she wanted to literally kill him for the morning part of the day. When he had came home, she had thrown him on the sofa. Yes, she didn't want him to sleep anywhere next to her. And then she refused to speak to him. She was currently cooking dinner, as every chop that she made was going deeper through the vegetables and in the surface of a table. As she turned and launched a knife, Minato had to tilt his head as a knife stabbed into the wall. Our Katsumi-chan's gonna come home any moment now from the academy. She's gonna smile and tell us everything's fine and gonna speak about fashion and boys. Meanwhile, somewhere, there's a young boy who's just like her, who's probably scared, probably hungry, and left alone in the woods to die as a weapon for that bastard Danzo. And all of that is happening because his father let him suffer alone. She turned her back to him as she went back to do what she was doing. Minato knew that he had little excuses to say, but it had to be done. He wasn't right of his decision, he thought. What then? He would have still been used as a weapon for Danzo to bring me down from my position as fourth. And then Katsumi-chan would have to live with the social stigma of having a Jinchuriki as a brother. She would have hated her brother for her sufferings, and you would... Don't speak for me, said Kushina, as she turned towards him that glare. I cried tears of pain when you told me that he died at birth. You kept him away from me. I couldn't even be there to grow him. Watch him as he grew. Her eyes turned watery. She shook her head. If Jiraiya-sama finds him, and pray to come that he does, I want you to recognize him as my son. I don't care about Danzo. I will snap his neck if he even says a word. I want my son back, Minato. And only if he does. Only if he does. Maybe I will think about forgiving you too. She then turned back towards the food that she should have been preparing. As she released a sigh, I can't cook tonight. I could order ramen takeout, said Minato, as he picked himself up. She glared at him angrily. The door then swung open though, as she quickly calmed herself. Mom, Dad, I'm back. A look of nervousness and sadness was on Kushina's face. She didn't even know what to do with Katsumi. With the information, she didn't want to tell her that her father sent her brother to die. She shook her head. She would tell her after her genuine exams next year. But it hurt her in her heart just to be close to her daughter and unable to tell her. And when she looked at Katsumi, she remembered that boy all those years ago, and she thought it was Katsumi. She turned towards Minato. I want a mission out of Konoha. Timeskip. The land of snow. A day later, the group of Kumo ninjas were making their way, as the place was covered. A snowy hill with a small meadow over to the side, and frozen water and a cave. Killer Bee was the first of a line, with C behind and Darui at the back, as Naruto was walking at the side as Yujito was walking beside him. So, I get it. I gotta win a Finty. Yes, I need chakra control. Still, why am I the only one with weights? Said Naruto. Yes, they had weights strapped on him. Yes, the weight of a large iron pot that was strapped down to his back, which he had no idea where C got it from. The exercise was simple. He had to send enough chakra to his legs to remain on top of the snow. And he had to keep it stable and perfect, because if he did not, his legs would break down through the snow and he would be knee deep. Yo kiddos, this is training, said B. You heard the boss. So C, is everything alright near us? Sensei, there's nothing around us for miles, he said, as he sensed nothing. We made camp then. Naruto, go and fill the kettle with snow. We'll have Yujito turn to water, and then we'll make instant ramen. The food of champions, yo. Alright, said Naruto as he dashed off, as he reached towards a frozen river with the iron pot, eager to get some food into his stomach. Ramen? B sensei. Ramen isn't good every day as it's breakfast, lunch and dinner, Yujito said. I think we should start training some jutsu. Just look at him running back, said Naru, even with the thin ice near to the lake. The really thin ice Naruto was keeping a perfect control over his chakra, as he was now running back. As Naruto came back, he placed the pot down. B threw him a scroll as he caught it. Look kiddo, you know I like to help you, but no one here has got Win Affinity. But that scroll there can teach you. Wind release, great breakthrough. Now what we can do is train you until you get going with Light Affinity. Now first off, focus chakra on your right index. B raised his hand and showed Naruto as the chakra started to glow. As Naruto did the same thing, but the chakra started to shake a bit. And after a few seconds it dispersed. Well, once you got that down, you start making your chakra vibrate until it started to spark. As Naruto watched as spark of electricity started to dance along the man's finger length. Once you do this with both hands, B said, as both of his hands start to spark with electricity, you can release it like this. Electromagnetic murder, he said. As he touched the ground, the sparks fly out before they die down. The more chakra you put in it, the more stronger it becomes. It can go from shocking to outright killing. So be careful, B said. Well, that brings up the jutsu I'm going to teach you, said Naru. Lightning release, wave of inspiration. As Naru went through hands and fired a jolt that hit the iron pot. The water exploded out and drenched Naruto. That's cold, said Naruto. Yujito shook her head as she went through hand sign as she breathed out a flame that hit the pot. As Naruto went close, as he started to get warm, she let it go for a minute before ending the jutsu. Thanks, Yujito-chan, said Naruto. What would you all do without me, she said. Anyway, when you train with lightning, know the moment you leave your body, it becomes slower. As Wind Affinity is actually stronger against lightning because it is its natural, insulated material. Naruto nodded as he sat down next to the pot. As he started to focus on his finger, he would make it work, he was sure of it. Naru and B went to scout ahead as C remained in his sensory mode. Yujito eye twitched as they had left her to be the cook. She sighed as she went to grab the ramen pack. She paused as a spark caught her attention. C turned his head as he saw Naruto's eyes close. His hand was sparkling as it started to get brighter and brighter. The current sparkling. Yujito was shocked. How was he able to do that so quickly? That should be impossible. As Naruto's eyes were squeezed tight, he was concentrating hard. He didn't want B to think that he was weak and he couldn't do it. He didn't want none of them to think that he was weak and couldn't do it. He wanted to show them that he was a full-fledged ninja of Kumo and that he could do it. He slowly cracked open his eye as he saw the electricity flowing off his fingers. Well done, Naruto-kun. I'm really impressed, said Yujito. As Naruto's eyes light up smiling, she would have hugged him, as Enebe's suggestion was to squeeze him tight in a long hug, but she could already feel the ear on the back of her neck standing up from being this distance away. Naruto, you should discharge Jackson C. As Naruto nodded as he moved a bit away from camp, he actually flooded the entire area with his chakra. Could you believe it, he said, as the man looked puzzled. Well, it happened in the beginning, said Yujito. He miscalculated the amount. No, you don't get it. He flooded the entire area, even that river over there. He's got enormous reserves, not even counting his tenet inside of him. I had to concentrate hard to see through it, and let me tell you, it's not an easy task at all. Yujito was a bit surprised by that. She turned back towards her ramen as she heated up, as she had to make sure the water didn't freeze while the ramen cooked. Sorry we're late, said Naru as they came back some minutes later. Yo, where's the kid, said B. He's not with you, said Yujito. No, said Naru. What? She thought Naruto had went out to discharge the thing and go off to see them. She turned towards C. I'm on it, he said, as he started to spread his senses around. How far did Naruto go for him not to be able to sense a person that came near? Did Naruto really went that far? Meanwhile, at the snow Fortress Daimyo's prison, the ground was cold and dirty, some part of it wet. As he should be angry. Yes, he should be really angry, but he was more embarrassed. He went to a tree to discharge the lightning chakra, and it zapped him a bit. Nothing too dangerous, but he then felt like he wanted to relieve himself behind a bush, take a pee. So that is exactly what he went to do. And then he was clubbed over the head. Yes. He was happy that he did not wake up to an angry Yujito. Tell him to always look around his surroundings. And not to mention he felt embarrassed because he was knocked out with his pants down. But now he was here, in a prison cell with this strange thing attached to his arm. Furthermore, his legs hurt. It has been a while since he felt actual pain that could hurt him. After all, he could take high degrees level of pain, but now his legs hurt bad. As he gave them a quick glance, and then averted his sight, as he thought, maybe broken legs could not be healed in one night by the Kyuubi's chakra. Yes, he knew about the Kyuubi inside of him since he was 7 years old, and he had trained with B to not go into a rampage. He had never spoken to the demon before though. The seal on his body was too strong, and maybe that was the reason why he hadn't turned mad. The seal was the handiwork of the fourth Hokage. He knew it. He knew who was to blame for all of his suffering and pain, and he kind of wanted them to suffer the way he had. He shook his head, as he didn't want to think about that right now. The torture, the cells, the chains. He didn't want to think about that now. This time it was different. There was someone, people out there that care about him, and they will come to save him. As he could still remember Kushina, that red-haired woman. She was in most of his dreams at night. He had dreams where they felt so real, like he was actually being drowned over again. He was actually being stabbed over again. But he had to keep his mind busy with happy thoughts right now, because if he did not, he might crack. But whoever this was that kidnapped him, he would have to resist torture. As he thought about it, it was so ironic. After all, Root had tortured him a lot. To make him be able to resist torture, he would have to use their torturing methods right now to keep himself from saying anything, because he'd rather die than reveal anything on Kumo or B, Yujito, C, Darue. He would never say a single word. He looked up towards a long window that was far up in the ceiling as a cold was seeping in. He turned towards a strange mechanical thing on his arm as he tried to tamper with it. I wouldn't do that. It might just as well explode. The reply came from a female voice. As Naruto tilted his head, there was a girl dressed in strange blue and red clothing. She looked a bit roughed up on the edges. So, who are you? The both of them said at the same time. I'm Naruto, he said. I'm Yuki. You don't know who I am, she said. And she was surprised the boy didn't try to get an autograph from her. Should I? At first, Naruto tried to recall the bingo book, but that brought up too many bad memories as he shook it off. You ever watch a movie? The girl asked. No, said Naruto. I am not much for television or films. Why am I here? She rolled her eyes. If you don't know, what makes you think I know, she said. Naruto looked over her. She didn't have the same thing yet on his arm. So why are you here? None of your business, she said, as she turned away. Hey, you could try to be a little bit gentler to a fellow prisoner. As Naruto didn't realize he hadn't been tied up. Strange. I'm getting us out of here, as he crawled, ignoring the pain from his broken limbs, as he tried to gather chakra to the palm of his hands, only for an electric shock to happen that threw him as he slammed into the wall. He fell unconscious. The next thing he knew, he was in a sewer. From a prison to a sewer. I hate you, kid. A booming voice came from bars in front of him. Is this what we call a mindscape? He said as he looked around. Yes, the voice said. So you're the Kyuubi? No, I'm the Tooth Fairy. What else do you expect me to be? As Naruto saw the red eyes open up, looking at him. So why are we speaking? Said Naruto. He had no clue why he was here. Did he die? Because I hate you, kid. And I know I have to give you some of my chakra, or you will actually die. A part of Naruto felt relief. That was hard for a kid to feel relief at dying. But he shook his head. Yujito, his father, B. There was people out there that wanted him to come back. Yes. And he couldn't be selfish. As Naruto didn't know what to say to the fox now. There was only one problem though. The seal hadn't weakened enough. So it will hurt. Pain that make you wish that you would have died. Unless you remove this paper here. And I can give you chakra without any pain. The fox left out the point of him breaking the seal and taking over. But B had already explained that to Naruto. Give me the pain and let's be done with it, he said. Are you sure? You know that you could... Oh. He told you, said the fox. Yeah, he did, said Naruto. Well, can you fault me for trying to leave this place? I would be pretty pissed too and enslaved without a way of escape. Well, like I am right now, said Naruto. Well, that thing on your arm, I guess I'll have to overcharge it. But don't think angry thoughts, hateful words. It will help you to control my chakra better. You know B already explained to me your tricks, right? As Naruto opened his eyes, he was ready for the pain, but the contraption in his arm started to creak as he started to turn red. As he expected a warning of some sort, but he got none. The fox clearly didn't like him and he didn't want to go there. It was like a relationship with B and the Haxaby. Those two were friends. As he met the Haxaby at the Waterfall of Truth, that is where he learned how to control himself. At least control the chakra of the fox. Not as a way to use it, but to make it not go out of control. And since then, his chakra control has skyrocketed. And it has gotten a lot better. Yuki turned her head towards her fellow prisoner with his broken legs. Maybe Sandayu had hired Ninja to free her and take back over the snow country. It was a futile attempt. She didn't want to come here, but she was forced by the contract. And she had to come here for the damn director for the movie. And now she had been kidnapped. She already gave the crystal to Doto. She was gonna leave this damn prison once he found the weapon he was talking about. But knowing him, she would probably be executed, as she had lost all hope. But then she saw the contraption Kumo boy. It broke. Yes, it broke. Thank God it didn't explode, said Naruto. I dosed the chakra into it. It could have exploded if I had rushed it. The voice in the back of his head said, wait, you're talking to me? Oh, you accepted my chakra into your coils. I should have mentioned a 96% possibility of this happening. Yeah, you should have, said Naruto. As Naruto grit his teeth as he felt the chakra running through his legs, the bones mending back together. As the wounds were closing, Yuki saw small tentacle of red chakra running through the boy's body. It was roaming along his legs, just seeping around them, and his legs was realigning itself, cracking back into place. So, you gonna get me out of here, she said. As Naruto looked at her, I don't know. You're not exactly friendly, and I'd rather not be weighted down. She blinked as she was confused. Didn't Sandayu pay you to get me out of this place? You and your team? Who? Said Naruto. That answer made her heart plummet. So he wasn't here to rescue her. And without payments, ninjas didn't do anything for free. As Naruto heard keys, as he heard a door slam open, a man with black hair came down the corridor, looking quite angry. Seems like the key only worked with your blood, Koyuki. Very well. I'll have to bring you out for a stroll, and this Kumo ninja will have to come as well, just to make sure he doesn't pull anything strange. Doto, just let me go. You can keep this damn country for yourself, if you want it so badly. Naruto was confused. Didn't she say that her name was Yuki? Just let another Sandayu come around, and bring you back here. No, I don't think so. With you dead, that pathetic excuse of rebellion will finally be over. As Naruto narrowed his eyes, the man had two guards behind him. Now, grab them. The moment the cell door opened, Naruto dashed as he jumped to the wall. He then smashed his foot right into Doto's face. The man staggered back as Naruto jumped on his shoulder and pushed off. He then rushed towards the exit. He wasn't a samurai. Why the hell would he stop and fight? As he was getting the hell out of here. Go after him, Doto said, as he held onto his face. As he grabbed Koyuki's arm. You're coming with me, he said. The first guard grabbed the door that Naruto had locked behind him, as the man was electrocuted. As he fell down to the ground, the second one stood there. Doto scoffed. As he went to hand sign, a black dragon was released from his arm, killing the two guards in the process and blowing the door off its hinges. Come, as he pulled Koyuki with him. She tried to rebel, but nothing she could do was getting through. No matter how hard she punched, she felt like she was hitting something steel, as he had an armor under his clothing. Meanwhile, I got a chakra signature, said C. Where's the damn brat? I'm killing him this time, said Yujito. As it was a mix of anxiety, fear, anger, and relief that her adopted brother was fine. She would still slap the crap out of him, but then hug him to death, and then slap him some more. As Killer Bee slapped away a large pile of snow ninjas who were trying to get in their way. After all, none of them stood a chance. The Roy electrocuted a couple snow ninjas as they fell down. He's a couple miles from here to the west, said C. How the hell did he cover that much distance in less than an hour? Said Yujito. Doesn't matter. We have to move to save our bro, said B, as he knocked the last snow ninja out. The rest of the group nodded. As they dashed, Yujito was wondering why Darui was here in the first place, as he said he had a mission in the same direction, and he tagged along with them. Raikage orders he wasn't supposed to speak about it, but she shrugged. Darui was Darui. He was certainly probably feeling pain not to be able to speak about it. Still, he tagged along to watch Naruto train, and he was probably wasting time. After all, he should be on his mission anyway. As C turned his direction, he's moving fast. Really fast. How much fast are we speaking about, said Yujito, as a thought passed her and B's mind. Don't worry, Cat. I doubt the boy has gone berserk, said B. The snow started to come down. A loud noise caught their attention as they turned their head as a train was moving. Let me guess, Naruto is in there and he's in trouble, said Yujito. Stay back, my fellow. Let my fists guide the mellow. I'm the Hakusabi Jinjulki. No train can stop my rhyme. Let me stop this in time as others move back as B was gonna stop the train. Meanwhile, Naruto had to curse his luck. He had to have some bad luck or something as he had dashed towards a large metallic cold thing. And it turns out it was a train. He was just in his boxers and his t-shirt. He was extremely cold. He was just thankful that he had his forehead protector with a pocket knife hidden inside. The train started to actually move as he had to hold on, as he could feel his hands going numb as he was holding on to the cold surface. His fingers started turning a bit blue. You know, you could ask for help. There it was again, that damn snotty fox. I am not snotty. I am the Kyuubi. And you, kid, you need a hand. What did he want, Naruto thought to himself? Yeah, hot ramen. That would be nice to warm his hands. And for it to go down his stomach warm and nice. Typical. Instead of asking for some chakra, you think about ramen. I really hate you, kid. The sentiment is the same, said Naruto. Oh, please. Like you know what it feels like to be chained to someone for the rest of your life. I was chained once, said Naruto, for a long time. I understand what it meant to lack freedom. That is why I have a dream, he said. But you still had a choice. You could have rebelled. You could have told them to leave you alone. Or you could have left the orphanage. I'm gonna be the Raikage. Then, everyone that cared for me, I'm gonna protect them. As Naruto saw... Oh god, he said. As B's fist connected with the train. As the momentum threw Naruto forward, the giant fist of the Hakusabi stopping the train. As Naruto was sure that he was gonna hit a rock. Or probably a kunai that was forgotten there for a very long time, with his luck. But no. He landed in something rather bouncy and warm. Oh god, he's like an icicle. He will freeze my tentacle like that, the Hakusabi said, as he slowly handed the boy over to Yujito, who wrapped Naruto up in a blanket. Thank God he left his bag and he had a spare of clothes inside of it. The train came to an abrupt stop by B stopping it. As a couple scared snow ninjas came out with Doto holding on to Koyoki, and the Kumo ninjas had no idea what the hell was going on. Kumo ninjas, you will not stop me from achieving the perfect weapon, Doto yelled with a kunai at Koyoki's throat. As Yuki watched as she saw the boy with the remaining Kumo ninjas, perhaps the boy had went off to get his friends to help her. That misunderstanding made her think if the boy went so far as to help her, going through the cold, almost freeze himself to death, maybe she should remain in Snow Country as his daimyo. And once I have my weapon, I will crush all of you, Doto said. That was the wrong thing for him to say though, as an ominous feeling washed over the entire area as Naruto's killer intent exploded outwards. As even Darui, boredom face changed. As he felt sick, the vile chakra oozing from the boy's body, as Naruto's eyes turned red with slits in them. His fangs and canines elongate. You should have chosen a better choice of words, B said, as he pulled back in the Hakusabi. Tell hello to the kid for me, he said. What is this? You think this scared me, said Doto, as the man had no idea what a Jinjulki was. Too busy living his luxurious life, spending his life searching for the ultimate weapon. He had no idea what he was about to face. The pocket knife, the emergency weapon of Naruto, was in truth made of chakra metal that reacted well to strong elemental affinities. Thanks to Naruto's natural wind user affinity, he could actually increase the pocket knife use with chakra. In his unreasoning state, he was too tired to think. The next moment, he was no longer in the blanket that Yujito gave him to warm himself. He no longer needed that warmth. He needed a different type of warmth. He needed the warmth of blood gushing out of wounds that he was gonna make. As Naruto appeared behind Doto, Yuki was surprised, as she's never seen someone move that fast before. Doto grabbed his neck as blood exploded out of it as Naruto had slashed it open. As Naruto turned and started to rip the man apart. What was worse, no one stopped him from doing so, as blood splashed all over him. He then slowly turned his gaze towards Yuki. She had lied to him, but she was a worthless prey. The Kumo ninjas was his friends, yes. As he turned towards the remaining snow ninjas, as he leaped He was like an animal. He needed their blood and needed their death because he was a monster who could only feel emotions in slaughter. Harui didn't have much expression at the slaughter in front of him. He looked towards Yuki. "Sorry you're seeing this," he said. She had her hands to her mouth as she simply nodded. "You're Yuki Fujikage, the famous actress, right? I watched some of your films," Yujito whispered as she moved closer to the girl. As Yuki wanted to scream, asked them why they were not stopping the boy. She looked into the woman's eyes that was near to her as she saw grief in them. All of them had grief in their eyes, except for the big muscle man because she couldn't see his eyes because of the shades. "Naruto!" The yell snapped him out of his mental state. It was his name, right? Not monster or demon, Naruto. Who called him? As he turned to see his Uncle B looking at him. "That's enough, Naruto." "Naruto," the man said the last time. As that jolted him. Did I do this?" said Naruto. "Well, bro, you packed a punch. Teach them a lesson, the bunch. Nothing bad. No need to be sad," said B, as he held out his fist. "Come on, don't leave a bro hanging." Naruto brought up his fist. Yuki didn't know what to say, as she decided being polite would be rather nice here. Especially that boy. "Thank you for saving me," she said with a small bow. As Yujito grabbed the blanket and covered Naruto with it again. The moment we get a moment of rest. "I'm punishing you," said Yujito. "But that wasn't my fault," said Naruto, giving her the puppy dog eyes, as he seemed to have completely forgot about the slaughter or the dead bodies around them. "You didn't check your surroundings," C pointed out. "Yeah, he definitely did not," said Darui. "Well then, let's bring the missus somewhere safe. Let's take a nice cafe. Somewhere to get warm." Time skip. The Kumo ninjas left a few days later. But what they found out was that Yuki was actually Koyoki. Now the daimyo of the Land of Springs, as the famous weapon that Dodo was going on about was a generator that heated up the place. Naruto was thankful for that. After all, the cold, being in the warmth was better, as he spent the time resting and recuperating from the harsh temperature, and not to mention Yujito slapping the crap out of him for making them also worried. Koyoki misunderstood their intentions of saving her. After all, they never came here to save her at all. But it was better to have a daimyo on their side than not, as the Raikage will certainly be surprised to know that your simple mission land them a alliance with the Land of Snow, or the Land of Spring now. As they departed, their next stop was Yukigakure, a hot spring village. By the end of the fourth day, Naruto was able to deliver electricity in his hand and keep it going calmly. Something he was really proud of. "Well, if only you knew how to discharge it all without having it linger around," said Yujito. As being the only one long here, it made her ponytail stick upwards, and she believed that he was doing it on purpose, just to take her off. As Naruto chuckled as he let the chakra sparks move across his hands. He would never let her know it, but it was cool to make her hair move up and downwards by just increasing and decreasing the chakra in his hands. As he laughed some more, a slap on the head later, and they made their way into the village of Yukigakure. As they went to the hot springs, "Be nice and do not peep, especially you, C," said Yujito, as she entered the female side. As Naruto raised the eyebrow and looked at C, who shook his head. "Just because I'm a sensory ninja doesn't mean I have to peep," as he feigned offensive as he entered the male side. As B and Darui and Naruto made their way as well, as they entered the hot baths. They weren't alone though. An elderly 50-year-old man was turning his back to them, as he was scribbling something in a notepad. He had long white spike hair that went down into his back. He had a few wounds on his back, showing that he was a ninja. But he didn't have any weapons on him. After all, they were in a hot springs. "So kid, how's it going in the lighting techniques?" Darui asked. As Naruto raised his hand, but C grabbed it. "We are soaked in the water. Please refrain from showing off." Come on. A little bit of electricity never kills someone." B laughed. "If you try anything, I'm coming over there to kill you," a female voice said. "Bro, we got Yujito angry. She's gonna have wrinkles," said Naruto. "I heard that." Meanwhile, Jiraiya sighed as he wrote his next novel. He was following a trail that was left by his spy network. That was cold, dead cold. Thankfully, Minato had closed on route and grabbed their mission scrolls. Coupled with no Naruto code name, that was Monster. He had discovered his first mission outside of the village, to kill an elderly lady, to press an anti-Konoha counselor of the sound into silence. Ruthless as done so was, the kid was only 6 years old. And the things that Jiraiya read in the notes were just... it made him shiver at what the 6-year-old had to go through. At age 6, Naruto was more a ninja than any of the academy graduates. Jiraiya had no doubt that the boy was still alive, but he had no idea where he was. the training, the brutal training that was placed on him, would have given him the ability to fend off anyone against him. Well, not anyone too strong, but he would adapt and he would survive out there. Jiraiya had gone to the hidden zone with great risks, and he only found out that there was only a group of Kumo ninjas in the area. So, he followed a feeble-looking trail. Given the fact that he was wearing an oil headband other than the Konoha ninja headband, he wasn't so worried. But the Raikage knew him well though, so he couldn't exactly just go to Kumo. But from the boy characteristic, he had blue eyes, whisker marks, and he resembled a mini Minato. He also knew, but it was an old knowledge, that the boy referred to himself as monster or demon. As he kept on scribbling, he realized someone was perching near to him. But the person wasn't a threat, as he figured it was the same boy that yelled and got yelled at, as he heard that the boy was efficient in lightning techniques. Must be a chunin after all. Younger than that, didn't start elemental training yet. But Jiraiya did not turn. After all, when the inspiration got him, he could not turn. He had to ride till the end. The boy, after a while, swam back towards his group. Jiraiya barely glanced at the corner of his eye as he saw blonde hair. He couldn't see the boy's face, but there was no scar on his back. Imagine that he went through immense torturing. He figured that the boy would have at least some scars over him if it was Naruto. He did turn around though as the other ones were looking at him. Hey, it's a Toad Hermit. Yo, old pervert. Killer Bee was Raikage's brother, and that was known by the dumbest of the dumbest. Yes, everyone knew that. Bee, wasn't it? You're on a mission with your brother. Jiraiya was perplexed because he didn't think that the Raikage would actually leave Kumo unless it was a diplomatic mission, and none of his spies told him anything on that regards. He knows Dad. As Naruto turned, as Jiraiya gasped, C and Darui saw his gasp as the era started to get a bit tense. As Jiraiya was no fool as he connected Big Sister Yujito to Yujito, the Jinjulki of the Nibe, who was probably already on alert if she heard what B said. Still, the blonde boy, whisker marks, blue eyes, and miniature, looking like a miniature Minato, stood there with a perplexed look. Yeah, my little nephew here. He's a strong kid, so we call us brothers. We can kick asses and save daimyos, B said, as he looked at Jiraiya, ready to step in at any time if Jiraiya wanted to do anything. That is one of the legendary Sanins, Jiraiya. He was a teacher of the 4th Hokage, said C, as Naruto was staying close to B's side. He was interested in the old man because the man was writing on paper while in the water while it was not wetting. That is why he wanted to see what he was up to. Naruto, you've been in the water too much. Out now, said Yujito from the other side, as he could hear her leaving the baths. Go, kid. Even the Shinigami is frowning when Yujito is angry, said B as he pushed Naruto out of the water back into the changing room. As Naruto simply nodded as he was then taken by Yujito. That boy, he belongs to... Jiraiya was stopped by C. You're starting the sentence wrong. He belongs to no one, and certainly not to a pathetic excuse of a village who has torn his soul to shreds. How did you get him? Jiraiya said. He was weaponless, but so were they. But Killer Bee was known as a perfect Jinjulki for a reason. And not to mention the Nibe would come in as well. And also, they knew lightning jutsu. And Jiraiya was soaked. Why do you care? Said Darui. I am that child's godfather. That wasn't a lie. Minato wanted Jiraiya to be the godfather of both of his kids, even though one of them would never knew. So you trained him into calling himself a monster. I thought you were a pervert, not a heartless bastard. C spat out the words in anger as he spoke. That wasn't me. I've never met the kid before today. As Jiraiya so saddened at that, maybe if he was there, he could have changed things. Nevertheless, you weren't there when he tried to slit his wrist because he couldn't do a simple chakra controlling exercise, or he almost break his bones because he wanted to reach B's strength. You were not there when he curled into a ball every time he saw a blackjack. You were not there when he went on rampages every time he heard the word Konoha or perfect weapon. None of you were there then, and you have no right on him now, said Darui, as Jiraiya just looked sad at the information. If Konoha tried something funny, know that Kumo would not just sit idly by and watch, and know that he's the Raikage's son. If not by blood, but certainly by spirit and soul. And his dream is to become the next Raikage of Kumo. And no one, especially people who have abused him and berated him, would ever have a word on his choices. As they waited, I understand, Jiraiya said. That was all he could see at the moment, as he was at too much of a disadvantage. Maybe he could summon Gamabunta and try to grab the kid and make a dash for Konoha. But even then, he wasn't sure how the council would take it, or everyone will take it with the Raikage and the 2 Jinjulkis and an army coming back to Konoha. For the boy, we are going on a mission to the land of waves, and we're passing through the land of fire. You would do the boy a favor by not saying anything to the Hokage. This is his first mission. And we wouldn't want the boy to go through any problem of things ensuing badly on his first mission. For him to blame himself. It already took him years to open up this point. So, I won't let anything make it worse, said B. As B spoke, he was not rapping at all. The man was dead serious. If anything happened to the boy, be it Onvu or Konoha ninjas, any culprits, know that I won't stop until the Haxabi has trashed through the entire land of fire. And the Haxabi and me are on the same concern when it comes to that boy. Do I make myself clear? Jiraiya nodded as he said nothing. Good. We've been in the water long enough. And with that they left. As Jiraiya didn't know what to do, he could send a toad summon back to Minato, but Kushina would lose it, and she would want her boy back. And a war will ensue over the boy. In the council and Danzo, they will get involved. The kids seem happy after all with friends. Maybe he will tell Minato in person when he get back after checking out how the boy was doing and how he was being treated in Kumo. Yeah, he'll do that. A couple of months wouldn't hurt anyone. Kushina had waited years, as hard as that was. A couple more months to see how the boy was faring well. Yes, that would be the best thing to do right now. As starting a war right now wouldn't be in the best interest of anyone. Countless deaths and slaughter. Yes, he will have to see how the boy was doing before he spoke to Minato personally. After all, if he knew Minato well enough, he would try to do something and stop the Kumo ninjas. And having the Haxabi and the Nibe go crazy, that wouldn't be good for anyone. So for right now, he will just observe. And then he will make a decision. But Jiraiya knew. The moment Kushina find out about this, the moment this news came public to them, she's gonna want Naruto back. And things are gonna become real difficult. Not to mention what Killer B just said, that the Raikage took Naruto as his son. Given the fact that Killer B was not the Raikage's real brother, and the man took him as his actual brother, when they share bonds, it was said to be tighter than any other bonds in the entire Elemental Nation. That is just how it was for Kumo. So things are going to be real difficult. As the man simply sighed, and he really wanted to avoid a war. But guys, be in so right here. If you want the next part to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, stay in tune for the rest of the what ifs coming your way. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And yes guys, family, because I have 3 channels. Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post on every single day for you guys to enjoy. 3 what ifs a day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family, guys. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys very soon. Peace.